We're going to show you how to wrap bar tape onto Aero bars. And first of all, preparation. You want to make sure you know where you're going to actually stop the wrap going, whether you want to come all the way up to the bars or whether you're going to stop short. And I've decided that I want to stop the wrap just here, and I've outlined that with a line of tape. I've done that on both sides. Now there's always going to be a compromise here depending on where the logos are, and you might end up covering a bit of the logo that you don't want to. I wish bike brands would get on top of that and put the logo somewhere we can wrap bar tape to. Now the other thing you really want to do is to make sure that if you've got brake hoses that they're supported. So I've used some felt pads behind here. I know they can still hold onto the handlebars and give that reassurance. So pad out the back of this. If you haven't got felt pads, just use a piece of old bar tape and pad that out. Take your electrical tape. You've already got the mark where you're actually going to end the wrap, and just keep the bar tape as flat as you possibly can. You don't want any wrinkles because you will feel those wrinkles underneath the tape. Good quality pair of scissors so you always get a nice clean cut. Okay, and now our handlebars are ready for wrapping. Prepare your tape. Make sure that they're both the same length. That's going to save you loads of headaches later when you're trying to work out getting the left and right completely equal. Now obviously we want to wrap these so that when we wrap we're not covering up the logos. First wrap is going to be one complete wrap before we start doing our twist. Now go towards the bike, one full wrap. I'm applying quite a lot of pressure to keep this tight. Now we've got one full wrap that overlaps itself, and now we're going to start doing the twist so that it starts working its way up. Now this is what I'm going to call this leading edge, and I always want this edge to be touching the bar, so any gaps appear we're going to adjust it early on. So we start that overlap, and you can see how much pressure I'm putting in to keep this edge always touching the bar. So look how much I'm pulling on those tapes. I'm working my thumb around to make sure that leading edge is always touching the bar. Now we've got to read on whether these are accurate or not. So I'm going for about a finger's width apart for each wrap and keeping them nice and consistent. When you start going round this curve, it's even more important that this edge stays absolutely stuck to the bar. Never ever let there be a gap. If you need to come back and work the tape and stretch it into place so there's always that contact. Now when you get to the point where there's just a small gap right by the lever and the bar tape is coming towards you, now we're going to put our figure of 8 in. So with the bar tape being pulled towards you, keep that tight, come over the top. Again, that leading edge needs to be touching the bar. Do not let a gap appear there. And we put in our figure of 8. Now there's going to be like a little chevron shape appear here, and we'll try and get this peak of the chevron to line up with the center of the bar. That's what we're looking for, so that looks super neat. Look at that. And now we can see this little chevron lining up with the center of the bar. If this bit gets too long, just use one hand, rip it off. Never ever let go of the tension. Oh. Now, there's quite a void to fill as the lever touches the bar, so we can put another little wrap in here just to help smooth that transition from lever hood into the bar. And because we're wrapping an Aero bar and we're not going the full distance, we can be fairly generous with how close our wrap is. If you go in a full wrap, you might need to be a little bit more conservative with how many turns that you do. So look how much effort I'm putting into keeping that tension on the bar tape. Really pulling quite hard. If you've got cork tape, be careful because it will rip. But this tape is good, it's strong, it's woven. Now we're getting close to where our cut line is, and we're going to use this edge now to make up the finishing edge of this piece of tape. And here, so I'm just going to mark those 2 points. Take my scissors and make one. Now your electrical tape is going to go the same direction as your bar tape, and it is going to be exactly lined up with that edge, not overlapping here. We want a nice smooth finish. Look how tight I'm pulling that, it's almost stretching the electrical tape. Keep that edge razor sharp, no wrinkles. 3 wraps should be enough, and we're going to cut it so that the joint is going to be underneath. Just like that. Just rotating that and make sure we've got good contact. Left hand side, have that little practice wrap, and make sure that when you're wrapping, you're going to be covering up the dead part of the bar tape and not covering up the logos. Peel back your tape, and again, start that first wrap going towards the frame from the underside, and then only when you come back round again do you start working your way up the bar. Always keeping that leading edge tight up against the bar. Now I know from the other side that I was aiming for little fingers width of wraps, so I can measure that here, little fingers width worth of wrap, which on this particular tape is the sticky part just touching the previous wrap, but the majority of it touching the bar. Look how much tension we're putting into this. You've really got to pull quite tight, and you see me working my way backwards and forwards. That's just me just pulling the tape in different directions, making sure that leading edge is always touching, and I'm making this 1 finger's width. Bring it around. If I'm not happy with the wrap, just lift it and place it where you want. Do not let a little gap appear here. It needs to be absolutely flush to the bar. 1 more wrap here, I think, before we start our figure of 8. Now with the tape coming towards you, now we do our figure of 8. So put it up and around, cover that gap, keep this flush to the bar. As we come back round, let's make that chevron. We want that cross to be in the center of the bar. And then tuck this right up inside the lever. You don't want any bunching up here. Tuck that right in, super tight. As we come around for the last time, we place it so that little chevron just stays lined up with the center of the bar. Using my fingers and my thumbs. Now my bar tape has now met the electrical tape, so we're going to finish this wrap by keeping this edge here lined up with that edge we wanted to finish at, so we get a symmetrical finish. That's going to be our finish point. I'll take my scissors from my finish point and just cut a lovely straight edge. Keep that edge tight and lined up with the electrical tape that you've already put down. You want nice straight edges. Take your electrical tape and continue in the same direction. Do your first wrap pretty tight, and the tape will stretch a little bit, it's okay. But make sure you don't wrinkle it, so avoid wrinkling your tape. You're not trying to overlap onto the bar, but you want this nice tight edge. And then your third wrap, a little bit less tension so you don't stretch the vinyl. So that the join is underneath the bar. Really work that and stick it down. And do it exactly the same as you did with the other side, so you can hopefully line your logos up. Starting in the same place. Keeping a nice tight edge. You don't want to stretch it so much that we sort of stretch the logo and the logo starts looking weird. And your oily thumbprints off the tape till the very last minute. Stick that down and really work that nice and tight. Pull the levers back, because if you leave these levers pulled back, they get like little crease marks. So as soon as you can get those lever heads down, the better. Tuck everything in, little twist as it goes in, straighten everything up, job done.